Hi, I'm Desiree Chappell. Welcome to TopMedTalk. It's Tuesday, and it's time for my Roundtable. The Roundtable is a chance to sit down with a multidisciplinary group to have discussion about perioperative care and improving the quality of what we do every day.
TopMedTalk.
I'm here with Monty Mythen, Editor-in-Chief. Hello, Monty.
Hey, Desiree. How are you today?
I'm great. So we have a friend of the family that's here back with us, Dr. Marc Koch. He's the CEO of Somnia Incorporated, and he's an anesthesiologist. Marc, thank you so much.
Hi, Desiree. Hi, Monty.
It's
Good
so lovely to see you.
It's always great to see you both.
Yes. You've been our guardian, my little guardian angel is what I've been calling you, because you've been feeding my croissant habit. My sweets in the morning.
It's the least I could do after you guys.
You're keeping me fed. Thank you so much.
One of our great fans, followers, and we're one of your big fans. And you're doing the Masters at UCL, I understand, Marc.
I am, and it is.
How's that going?
It is a wonderful experience. David Walker and his faculty are amazing. And it is one of the best decisions I've made in my career. I have you to thank, Monty, because I learned about it at an EBPOM conference, and I spoke with Monty at length about it, and he talked about the rigor of the program, the breadth of the program, the depth of the program, what I would be learning, and it just sparked my enthusiasm. And I haven't been let down. And David Walker and his team have just been miraculous. And for anybody who wishes to steal their interest and steal their knowledge in perioperative medicine, and that's make it solid. I mean, this is the one-stop shop, really, where you can get it all.
And when you've finished, you will be a Master of Perioperative Medicine. That sounds awesome.
Well, my only goal is to know more coming out than I did coming in. And with Monty and David Walker and his team, I'm sure I'll well exceed that modest goal.
I just put a teaser up because I got through from UCL just an update on the MOOC, which is the sort of teaser to the Masters. That's the massive open online course. If you put in UCL Periop MOOC, it's completely free if you don't want the certificate side of it. And over 15,000 people have now taken it. That's a real global audience. That's really great, isn't it? 15,000 people around the world have joined in.
Bravo.
Bravo. That's Isn't that
great.
Amazing?
That's fantastic.
Well done. The people who lead that you can find on the website. Well done to them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Desiree, I cut you off.
No.
Promoting our MSc and MOOC.
We need to take the opportunity to do that and have even more people join in. So, no, I think it's congratulations to that team. We also have another guest with us, Gregory Pato.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Greg?
So I'm attending the SPOCI conference. I'm a physician assistant from New York City. I'm at NYP Cornell, and I work in periop medicine on a co-managed service where we take care of the sick or elderly orthopedic patients. So it's mainly elderly hip fracture patients. So this conference is like right on target for us.
Fantastic. I love that. So have you been to a SPOCI conference before?
No, first time.
No. So how long have you been in kind of the perioperative medicine space?
This is, so the summer I finished my 5th year, and I guess we start the 6th.
Wow,
excellent.
That's great. Yeah.
So Greg, when you came over, you asked us, what the hell do we do?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to know if you guys were controlling air traffic or what was happening precisely.
We might be, but that's not. We're not using the wireless mics today, but that can interfere with drones in the area.
We stick to the head mics, the headsets for the podcast.
Medical podcasting, like the MOOC idea, it's free, open access, medical education. Completely free. We sit down with people like you. We do the Roundtable, Perioperative Coach, journal clubs. Podcast goes out a day.
Yep.
How we've been doing, Desiree? What are our downloads up to now for the first year?
Oh, for the first year. So we wanted 10,000 for the year, like 2018, this first year. I think we just surpassed 163,000.
Well, we've had since we got here, we've had over 3,000 downloads. So there's hundreds in the room, which is great, but 3,000 downloads since we got here.
Bravo, that's great.
That's awesome. And I'm going to do it myself.
And tell all your friends. I think the powerful thing in it, because they just had the survey there about NPO after midnight. And I did a rather provocative tweet that, I thought we all knew that was bad for patients and it hurts patients. And actually, if you're worried about getting sued, now you're more likely to be sued if you're NPO after midnight than if you've let clears beforehand. But 50%, almost 50%, 45, 46% of the people surveyed still do NPO after midnight. Now I think TopMedTalk, if you put NPO in, there's a list of different voices from around the world explaining why it's a bad thing to do and it's bad for the patient. So
we're going to need to
hear it from the horses' mouths.
To get in on that.
Yeah.
Are you still NPO after midnight?
We are 100% NPO after midnight.
And do you think people appreciate that the gastric volumes are actually going to be higher with a worse pH? And the evidence is so compelling now that if I was worried about being sued, I'd be worried about being sued for aspiration pneumonitis because I starved the patient, not the other way around.
Isn't that interesting?
There's so much we've learned in this conference. This is the last day. There's so much we've learned that we need to bring back to our institution. And I think the challenge is trying to get buy-in from all of the different groups,
Yeah.
And I think that's the challenge of periop medicine, is that it's not a single service. It's not a single discipline, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have to get buy-in from your surgeons, from the anesthesiologist, from the medicine services that are doing the quote unquote clearance and all of these other things and so forth. And I think we've learned so much, and that is yet another thing that we need to address.
Yeah, I think one of the things I love about TopMedTalk is that we discuss those challenges, and we know that, we can hear all about what the evidence is, but discussing like how we actually get buy-in, what people have done in their own institutions to drive change. I think it's just so important to continue to have that conversation, because we all go back, we're really excited about it, but now what do I do? Like, how do I get this going? And I think some of the stuff we talk at EBPOM, we really try and stress that as well.
One of the challenges is that when you go to make a change, it could be best practices, it could be compelling practice, but a lot of times that's a journey. Mm-hmm. You have to go, for instance, maybe to the bylaws committee, to the OR committee. You might have to go to the perioperative committee. And what I've found is that not everybody is comfortable doing that. What do I say? How do I say? Mm-hmm. I'm scared. What happens if they say I'm this or that? And, one of the things I've learned, particularly at EPOM, was how do you approach people? Mm-hmm. In what way and in what time? And using what as your armamentarium to get in there? Because sometimes the right thing to say at the wrong time and you fail. Mm-hmm. So there's timing, there's how you say it.
What you say to certain individuals is different than what you say to somebody else.
So, one of the things you have to do is you have to find your worst critic.
Yeah.
Your worst foil.
Yeah.
And you have to go and say, listen, can I grab a cup of coffee with you and let's talk it through? I'm really curious what you think and why, because most often you're going to face somebody with a logical, reasonable, well thought out reason.
Yeah.
And to say, a lot of times what I'll say is, hey, would we be able to try this on some of your patients and maybe take a look how they do? Mm-hmm. And, sometimes taking a highly incremental approach is helpful. But I learned a lot of that through Monty, yourself, and the folks at EPOM about how to do that. Because the people skills are just as important as the clinical knowledge.
Absolutely. Managing expectations, too.
Yes.
I think what we've been at this for over 20 years now, and you can spend the whole meeting presenting the evidence.
Yes. But
actually, it's the translation of that evidence is the heavy lift. So therefore, we've tilted our meetings much more frequently, hence them being called practicums, for example, is to get our speakers to turn around and say, okay, give us a little bit, summarize the evidence in 2 slides. That's great. We can look that up online. But how do you actually get it done? That's been the tipping point. And I hope that's played out in the conferences, Marc, that you've been to.
It has. And, what's great is, listening to you in particular talk, and Desiree, Saul, the speakers here, have really been helpful, because it helps you take that knowledge and then deploy it. And when you deploy that knowledge, you really could do some good. But having all that knowledge in your head is just that. It's in your head. And, you've been wonderful in teaching that, as has Desiree. And sometimes less of the evidence gets you further in your journey than more evidence. And I know it sounds almost paradoxical, but it really is true.
And Greg, any big takeaways from this meeting that you were surprised by? Park the NPO one for a second, but any big items you're going to go back and reflect? Should we?
I'm here with my service director, Dr. Eva Flores, and we were brainstorming the other day and saying, what are all the things that we can bring back? And it'd be hard for me to remember them all right now, but things like treating anemia, ahead of time. We weren't doing that. We weren't thinking that was even useful.
Especially in joints, it's going to be great.
All our surgeries are unplanned, so we're dealing with lots of things. Anticoagulation issues were hugely important, especially the reiteration of the bridge trial and basically avoid bridging. Let me see. I'm sure there's a
post-op delirium, the stuff that Lee was talking about. I think
absolutely.
Really
and frailty.
Well.
And frailty is a measure
yes.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
We've got to do that routinely now.
Yeah.
We've got to make ourselves do it.
Our patients are almost exclusively frail. The population is really at risk.
Well, Desiree, I'm speaking in the next session, so I feel I ought to go in.
We should go. Yes, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting down with us on TopMedTalk. Greg, I hope you have a better idea of what we do and who we are.
Fantastic. I'm a believer.
Yeah, and Mark, we'll see you soon.
Always good talking to you.
Thanks for your support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
Always. Thank you both.
TopMedTalk.
Nate Majerison here. Thanks for listening to TopMedTalk. Now, before we let you go, it's important that we remind you to subscribe to TopMedTalk. That way you'll never, ever miss another episode. Also, if we could encourage you to join us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much every single social media platform, we're there. Join us. And finally, check out TopMedTalk.com. If you go to our website, you can subscribe to email updates. That way we can always tell you where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and how you can join us. TopMedTalk.com and click on the section marked email updates. Finally, TopMedTalk is proud to act as the broadcasting arm of EBPOM, Evidence-Based Perioperative Medicine. We'd love you to find out more about them as well. ebpom.org is their website. That's ebpom.org. And if you go to ebpom.org/meetings, you can find out about some of the wonderful meetings that we attend and cover across the year here on TopMedTalk. That's ebpom.org/meetings.